we want to pay tribute to 100 victims of murder in our city. Marcus, can you please come and actually call out some names of some of those victims? And we are holding some of the victims' pictures. We will never forget. We have lost over 2,000 people over the past 4 years, since 2015. This has got to stop. We're going to talk about solutions today as well. Marcus?
So just the 61-year-old, just the other day, Miss Uris lost her life. On April the 14th, there was a young lady that lost her life, Breonna Henson, trauma, shot. There was a young man, 20 years old, East Monument Street, that lost his life, Kevin Braxton.
God have mercy on their souls.
The mother of three, that had 3 children, that witnessed that she got killed, Miss Sophia, she lost her life.
God have mercy on their souls.
So we just want this administration to know that these are not just numbers. These are individuals. These are family members that will never see their loved ones again. And we beseech the mayor, Brandon Scott, to act now. We can't wait 2 years. We can't wait until these new 35 individuals that he just hired learn whatever trade they need. We need the mayor who's sworn an oath to act now on putting more officers on the streets of Baltimore City. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. We don't need another circus. We don't need another holistic approach from California, from Philly, from New York, or from the White House. We need the mayor to fund the Baltimore City Police Department and put more officers on the streets and support the officers. Thank you.
Amen. And I want to say one thing. I'm going to say something that may be shocking to some people, but I have analyzed this situation now for 4 years here in Baltimore City. And when I ran for mayor, one of my first initiatives was going to be to get on top of violent crime. And what I wanted to do was take a portion of the Rue's actual plan, crime plan. But more importantly, I read the 26-page crime plan of Police Commissioner Harrison. He has years of experience. He came from New Orleans. But when you have an administration, who's the boss, folks? The mayor is the boss. So when you have a commissioner that you're paying over $275,000 in terms of an annual salary, and you tie that commissioner's hands, where you want to take away the plain surveillance technology that was covering 90% of the city, that had the capabilities of downloading images in real time down to the police vehicles, where they could track down those suspects in real time. When you have a mayor that insists that he wants to use a holistic approach, where we're going to have the prosecutor now become a legislator, something that I'm running for District 40. Now she wants to be a legislator, and she's going to pick and choose which crimes that is on the books, that is law. That when somebody breaks it, oh no, I'm going to decide which laws that are going to be prosecuted. And people need to understand that when you have young people that maybe they didn't have the right guidance, some of them that I've talked to were raised in good homes but went astray. And when there is no consequences, you are giving that young person the okay, the green light to continue their activity, which is causing and reaping havoc on the citizens of our community, to the degree where it's going all the way out into our connective counties. Where it's going out into Mr. Antonio's county, who's running for U.S. Congress, District 3. It's going out over to Darren Badillo, who's running for county executive. So you ask why these individuals are here? Because they're being affected. They're being affected. You're talking about District 6, 46. You have someone that actually has studied in college to get a degree in the constitutional law. And guess what? And I work with this young lady every day. And over in 46, they've seen so much of a surge in violence and in murders, okay? So we don't need to reimagine. We have everything that we need right here in Baltimore City if we had the right leadership that's going to do the right things and actually protect their citizens. Yes, citizens should have a civic responsibility to report, but it's not their job, nor have they been trained in law enforcement. They have not been trained as prosecutors. So I'm even calling today on Governor Hogan, let this be your last great decision that you make, and declare Baltimore City a state of emergency. You ignited 4,000 National Guard representatives, and by the way, who are relatives, who are citizens, who live right here in the city. They came out, they were good enough to be ignited, 4,000, and sent to Baltimore City to feed the people. They were good enough and positive enough to come here to actually vaccinate the people. They were good enough, and nobody was frightened of them, to come here and actually help do the testing. So what's the problem when we know that we're over 500 police officers short? What's the problem that even though we're using a tri-state now policy where we're working with state troopers, there are 100 troopers short? What's the problem with calling a state of emergency? We're getting ready to go into the summer months. This administration needs to be responsible. He took an oath to protect the citizens of Baltimore City. He needs to put out a curfew, because if a child is out here reaping havoc, they shouldn't be allowed on the streets after a certain time until they get a grip and get on top of tracking down the violent killers here in Baltimore City. So we want to talk about trauma. Johns Hopkins is supposed to be one of the leaders. They're now partnershiping with the city. But I had a personal experience where that's not the case. It's a revolving door when it comes to the mental disabled. It's a revolving door with a lot of these programs here. They let people wander off when they're supposed to be on blackout. And for those of you that don't know what blackout is, in a recovery situation, it's where you're on a 3.5 level where you don't get to come out of that resident for 45 to 60 days, okay? So therefore, if you're letting that person out, why is that happening? Why isn't that person, and their Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance is paying for those services? We got to get real. So I think we need to be investigating all of these so-called institutions and programs to make sure that they're meeting a certain standard. So what better person to talk about those standards than Dr. Andre Humphrey. Dr. Humphrey?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Sister Bazemore for allowing me to be a part of the Citizens Accountability. I want to recognize a few of my people that's with me.
No, they got it.
Yeah. So I've been seeing this going on year after year after year. And until we fight this on the other end, as far as the trauma, people that's incarcerated get the help that they need. If you can change a person's attitude, you can change their actions. Over 25, 30 years ago, they had shops and stuff in prison. So they don't have anything in there for them now, so they don't have anything to look for. I talked to a lot of brothers that's come home, and some of their families had moved and didn't tell them where they were. And until a person understand the mentality of trauma and effects of trauma and what happens when trauma goes untreated, a lot of these young kids out here they don't want to be where they are. They need somebody like Brother Goodwin and Sister Bazemore and all those, Pastor Steve Turner, who don't mind rolling up their sleeve. On several occasions, I tried to meet with the mayor and express to him what needs to be done. First of all, you can't keep on faking it. You can't fake it till you make it. And if you don't know, just say you don't know.
Right.
But there's people out here that will help.
Thank you.
That's willing. I said it to Mayor Jack Young, give the organizations the resources that they need, and we can make a difference. But you know, we have to train. I train the Baltimore City police officers also. It's a mindset. You know, we can question, but you want to know, you know, why a police officer is quick to pull out his revolver and shoot somebody. If you're on the police force and see this day after day after day, and if it don't affect you, then something wrong with you. So we got to get to those two entities first, because I always tell people what happened to Officer Friendly. Officer Friendly must have died, because I haven't seen him. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some good police officers out here who will do their job. But if they doing their job, locking the criminals up day after day, and then before shift change, they out laughing at them, that's very frustrating. So, I mean, any questions or anything you want to ask me concerning dealing with trauma, Baltimore has never been this way. Why? Because the citizens always stepped up. And, you know, I grew up in Lafayette Projects, and then later I moved up on Harford Road. But I'm not trying to sound Sister Bazemore like American gangster, but you ain't come in my neighborhood and sell no drugs. We you know, I don't expect the women to take the man's place and step up, because at one time, you know, women and children was out of bounds. But now they kill anybody and come to the homegoing service and tell the family, I'm sorry for your loss. You know, I've been there, I've been in the trenches, I've seen it. So what do? We got to hold the mayor accountable. He can run, but he can't hide. So the things that he's doing and he's saying, I believe City Hall was closed, like my good friend Brother Goodwin said. They don't want to address the issues. So if they can keep City Hall closed, they don't have to deal with you. They can avoid. But we need to have funding, not just so much for the Baltimore Trauma Response Team.
They do need to be funded.
But for 25 years,
experience.
Something is wrong with somebody's head, and they know. It's not like they don't know who I am, but for some reason they think that other groups out here can do a better job. So, you know, we are Pastor Turner. You know, we've been doing this for a long time. I know who's doing what. So, you know, when the money comes, you can't jump on the bandwagon and say, oh yeah, I've been doing that, because I have the documentation.
Right.
Not to put Safe Street on blast, but I'm saying I have all the information from where we responded to families. Where are people at when somebody, loved one is on the ground, just got his brains blown out, and they want answers? They're not going to give the people the answers, but they need somebody like us to cushion the blow. So I appreciate Sister Bazemore inviting me to speak this afternoon. Thank you
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So what are we saying here? Do we really want to waste another 2 years reimagining things that they have changed, like no bail, like we're going to just give away $1,000 a month to 200 young parents? Where's the training them for a position? Okay, are we really wasting money once again? And are we really holding our administration accountable for our tax dollars? That's a big question, okay? And I'm gonna say it, and this is gonna be the last time I say it, because the next time all of you hear from me, I'm gonna probably be in court, and I'm gonna probably be calling ACLU's legal committee and really investigating Baltimore City when it comes to the dollars, when it comes to John Hopkins, when it comes to all these organizations, but it's a revolving door. I've seen it with my own eyes. So I'm challenging even Fox. Fox, you did a great job investigating the public schools. And I'm telling you, John Hopkins, mental health organizations like POW and other organizations where my son was tested today after having to be EP'd from a rehab center, but yet he was tested and tested positive for marijuana. But you on a blackout where you can't leave that center for 45 to 60 days. How in the world, being in a drug rehabilitation residential center, do you have marijuana in your system? How could that be? We need some people investigating. When we talk about safe streets, I've been over to Safe Streets. I've met some of the directors. I've met some of the brothers that are returning citizens, like from the brothers the black brothers down the street, Washington. And guess what? They under the table. Oh, Miss Bazemore, see, I'm not from Baltimore, so guess what? I'm gonna say what's truth. And maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe y'all need to get a committee of people that are not from Baltimore City, that don't have the ties and the connections and in various circles, that can see clearly and get the facts and do real investigative work and hold people accountable, because this has been going on too long. This didn't happen overnight. So Mayor Brandon Scott, we're gonna follow the money. If I have to go and get the feds to follow the money, we're gonna follow the money, because it's time. You know, you have money that there should be a compensation fund. You talk a good game, but where's the compensation fund? Why do I have people that have lost sons and calling me and saying, Ms. Bazemore, how can we bury our son? How can we apply for the compensation fund? Well, that's on the DA's, that office around the corner up the street. Why isn't the DA's office connecting those victims with compensation so they can even bury their loved ones? What is really going on here in Baltimore City? So thank you guys for coming, but we're gonna get those questions just to let everyone know and the public know. We formally invited the mayor, we formally invited Commissioner Harrison, and we even CC'd Marilyn Mosby. And as you see, once again, they're a no-show. You guys really do your research and stop selling yourselves short and actually vote some people in that really care and will do the right thing here in Baltimore City. Thank you so much. Good evening. And I think
I just want to share something
just
real
want
quick.
to share one thing.
Yeah, and I just want to thank Zalika for taking the time to hold this press conference. My name's Darren Badillo. I'm running for Baltimore County Executive. And what a real leader does is get different communities together to help solve an issue. And that's what's going to take. Baltimore City is not going to be able to do it by themselves. I have to tell you, just like the doctor says, we have a huge mental health issue going on in Baltimore. I talked to a psychologist 3 months ago, and I asked her, do children that walk around crime, violence, and shootings every day, do they have a form of PTSD? And she said yes. The doctors know that. The leaders know that, and they're not doing nothing about it. We need to connect more resources for our community. We don't need to give those young adults $1,000 a month. We don't need to build a dirt bike park. We need after-school program, positive after-school programs, job training, and mental health resources for our community. It's time for the leaders to step up. The time is now. Thank you.
Anthony, real fast, and then Matt just have the last.
My name is Antonio Potocco. I'm running for the United States Congress in District 3 this year. What we're seeing in Baltimore is extremely tragic. We've got politicians who say that Baltimore matters, but don't mean it. It's all talk and no action. The system is broken here in Baltimore, and the people in that building behind us are the ones that broke it. It's time for when people run for office that if they say Baltimore matters, that they actually mean it. Thank you all very much.
Okay. And Mecca.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mecca X Muhammad. I'm a candidate, a Republican candidate for the Maryland House of Delegates, District 46, Southwest and South Baltimore, where I've lived. Most recently, a lot of the murders have been happening. We cannot do this anymore. To solve the problem with the police department, how about the mayor, the Baltimore City Council, Police Commissioner Harrison, seek out Baltimore residents that are retired military? Who else knows how to deal with a war-like zone situation than the retired military, along with the Baltimore City Police Department? We need to offer retired military the incentives to come on and recruit and work for BPD, and we also need to offer incentives for current Baltimore Police Department in order to help create the public safety for the people of Baltimore that we need. Mecca Muhammad, have a good day.
Okay. Steve, 1 minute. Okay. Introduce yourself.
My name is Pastor Steve Turner. I was a lieutenant with the Baltimore Trauma Response Team. And I'm not politically correct. I'll just say, when you have sorry leadership that is not wise, that is arrogant, that is ungodly, then God doesn't bless it.
And so we're gonna close this press conference with one more speaker, because Bill Gooding is a true fighter for the people of Baltimore City. If you guys that have covered the story of, he was one of the reasons that actually put the pressure on this mayor's administration to open back up City Hall for us, the citizens. So Bill, we're gonna close it out on you. Say a few words.
First, I just want to thank Ms. Bazemore and everybody else for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. We always have to do that. Dr. Humphrey. But you know, my position is simply this. We had a point that I think that we have to have leadership. When we're paying $375,000 a year, we have to have a measurement bar. We can't keep giving you $300,000 a year for you to fail. We should start you off with $200,000. If we see progress, then we give you a raise. But to keep giving people raises to fail people is setting a bad example. Thank you so much for letting me have the opportunity.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you, WBAL. Thank you, Fox 45. And we have also my friends at WJC. Thank you so much for taking the time, because I do want you guys to stay on this story. Stay on the story. I love y'all's work for local media, because not too many local medias these days will investigate stories. When the public come forth and give you some facts that requires it to be further investigated, we appreciate and we need you to continue to dig deeper into the story, because we need to really change what's going on here in Baltimore City. Thank you so much for coming. Any questions? I think we answered a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, young man. I need you, because you the volunteer. You do. Did I talk to you 2 weeks ago? No, you look like someone else. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we need to still talk, because there's some people in that precinct. Have you guys got together volunteers yet? Working on that, so we need to get together. Oh, Simone, get over here, you little quiet. You little brother snuck in on me. Oh my God, thank you so much for coming. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Hey, and this is what the volunteers. Thank you so much. We're going to leave.
That's what I am first.
Right to our meeting.
Yeah, we've met many times. Yeah, Brother Israel.
And but I do want to talk to you, because we're starting to get volunteers. Antoine is one of our newest volunteers, and so he's going to also help bring some other people on board.
Yeah, my show's on every second and fourth Sunday at 5. Mark's show. On 1010.
Yes. And see, as you see, one thing about me, I'm about bringing all of us together.
Whoa. That, oh, thank you. Oh, no friction.